Also, he's out sprinting them. Just an Excuse coming after him. Mr. DG kicking on, and further in Howard's and Just an Excuse goes to Also. Just an Excuse doubles up, and Just an Excuse. He won the 100th last year, and he started off by winning the 100s and first today.
20 years ago, you won the New Zealand Cup for the second year in a row. Can you believe it was that long ago, Todd?
No, it's too long to remember now, Courtney. So we're getting on a little bit now.
What about you, Robert?
It's a day that you never forget. So it's always in your mind somewhere along the line.
As father and son moments go, winning a New Zealand Cup is right up there, isn't it? And you two did it twice. Can you both describe the feeling of that win in 2004 to go back to back? Robert, how about you first?
It was pretty surreal, really. Like it was probably just a dream that's come true, and for Todd to actually be driving as well, it was a great thrill, and just something that you really never forget.
What about you, Todd?
Well, obviously, winning any cups, is an amazing thrill. But the second year, I think Dad was pretty emotional, which, made me get emotional after as well. But, just seeing Dad and Ollie so wrapped, was, surreal feeling.
Is it more satisfying beating a horse like Elsu?
Oh, it doesn't matter. It's only satisfying to yourself. It doesn't matter what the horse is. It's just satisfying to know that you actually, your horse got the job done. And it doesn't matter who the horse is or who the opposition is. At the end of the day, it's what your horse can do, and it was just a great thrill.
Take us back to the day. Was it a bit of a nervous watch for you, Robert?
Yep, I just kind of probably thought that if we finish in the first three, I'd have been pretty chuffed, with how things had gone. But at the end of the day, somebody forgot to tell Just an Excuse. No, he was pretty enormous that day, and I've got to admit, Todd just give him one hell of a drive, so it made all the difference.
Todd, can you describe what it felt like winning a cup, twice, 2 years in a row for your dad?
Yeah, well, I mean, the winning a cup, I don't know, I think it's just the atmosphere of the race. When you go out onto the track and that with the crowd when you're in the cup, I think it sort of raises, I don't know, something inside you sort of, I think every time I've won the cup, I go out there and the crowd, and I think the horses lift to the occasion, and I think you get that surreal feeling inside of you as well, and I think it sort of half lifts you into giving you a bit of confidence. But to win two cups for Dad, or with Dad, and Just an Excuse, he was an unreal horse to drive. He had so much speed, and then he could stay at the same time. So he was a bit of an all rounder. Just probably without his soundness issues, he probably could have carried on for a couple more years. But he was a bit of a freak of nature to drive for me anyway, personally. But I think I might have driven him all his career starts at all.
Yep.
Yeah, drove him, right from day one, right through to the end. So that was pretty amazing.
Were there a lot of celebrations within the family after that cup?
Yeah, well, I usually stay with Greg O'Connor, and I think out of the 4 cups, I think I lost 2 mobile phones, one in the back of a taxi and one down the toilet somewhere. So, the celebrations would carry on through the night, early hours of the morning.
Robert, what type of horse was he to train?
He was a horse that you had to be a little bit careful with. He was kind of thoroughbred built virtually, and not a horse that you could sort of back up week after week after week. He just sort of needed to be looked after, but he was very willing, and he always just did what you asked him to do, and I think he really loved the beach training. He just kind of thrived on that, and it just sort of suited him and me really. But it was no, he was pretty good. He was always one of those horses that when you went, even when you went out to jog him on the farm or do something like that, he was happy to be there, and he was very willing to be with you.
So what do you think of his achievements 20 years on? Like when you look back, how does it make you feel 20 years on?
Oh, look, it's just something that is always, it's always in your heart, and it's always in your head, really. Like you cannot rate with the modern horses today or whatever the times are, but he was it was just great to be associated with him, and he gave us sort of 4 or 5 years of absolute pleasure.
Todd, you mentioned before you've won 4 New Zealand Cups. You did Home and Hosed, Gracious Night, and Just an Excuse twice. Is there a win that stands out, or are they all just as special as each other?
Yeah, no, I think they're all pretty special. With Home and Hose with Brian Macy, so I did a lot of work with Brian, and he sort of supported me from when I first started driving when I was 15. So, Philip, his son, used to work for Dad that through the holidays. So there's a bit of a connection, family connection through the Macy's. So that was unreal to drive my first Cup winner, then beat Holmes DG, and then for Mike and Warren driving Gracious Night. I don't think Mike still hasn't gotten over it yet, that Gracious Night beat Factor Non-Verba on the day, so he still gives me a bit of shit about it. But for a stable Quinella for Mike and Warren, that was an unreal effort as well. And then to back it up a couple of years later with Just an Excuse, I don't think I'm trying to look for my 5th Cup winner, but it's just nothing has got the same ability as those horses, so we'll have to keep looking.